dials, or it's just contacts?
It's not doing dials, no.
Right, okay.
It just wants the number of contacts and the number of names you added to your database.
Correct,
So
correct.
contacts
Okay, so
added.
I'm not losing my mind then.
Right, it's
So I put
contacts
1 and
made
0.
and contacts added,
Okay.
those are, however they define that,
Cool.
that's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, and here's another one, open house, right? So we get a lot of, you're gonna get your contacts out of open house. So for a while, it behooves you to make sure you know how many people are you getting to leave their contact information for you at an open house. You wanna get really good at that, right? So now we don't track that. They don't have that subset of how many contacts did you get out of your open houses, right? So you can see where that would be valuable. I had 5 people walk in and I only got two contacts. And the next open house you go, I had 4 people walk in and I only got 1 contact. And you go, I gotta get better at this. Those ratios aren't good enough, are they? Yes.
Could you say, just to reach, when you do an open house, the owner wants everyone to sign it?
They do. People do say that, and it sometimes it works, and other times people just say, no, I don't really want to sign in.
Okay.
Okay, so what are you going to do? Say get out? Right? We don't. So we try not to say that, and there's other ways that work a little better. When you go and greet somebody, say, hi, so nice to meet you. Come on in, and why don't you come right over here? Everybody's signing in. Won't you please sign in?
Yeah, maybe put like a plate of cookies next to it.
No, don't go into cookies because you don't want crumbs all over somebody else's unit, and
Okay.
kids, don't get there. You don't, hold on. You don't need to bribe them that way. I'm just telling you, it's a script. It's a process. So when you hand somebody a pen, or when you bring them to if you've got an iPad, they've got a wonderful app on iPad called Open Home that you have people log into.
Open.
And you could research it and see if Android has yet created a comparable program. But Open Home works great, and people have great success with that. Other people go about it a different way. They have somebody say, no, I don't really feel comfortable signing in. Say, that's okay, so tell me what are you looking for? If you looked at other things and you engage them in the conversation, and then you've engaged them enough that says, I'd love to send you that information. Why don't you give me your information here? And then you get it at the end of a conversation, right? So if you keep in mind, my goal at open house is to get contacts to build new relationships. I need contact information to follow up. You'll figure out a way to get it. And you want to track that to make sure you get really good at it, right? Yes, ma'am.
So sorry, I wasn't listening when you asked your question, but did you ask the question about?
Patrick, ask.
No, Connor.
Corey.
Sorry.
We're all doing terrible at your name. But I got it.
I'm so bad.
I
Don't
got it.
forget it.
I'm
I
so good
got
at
it. I'm not gonna
renaming
forget it
people.
now.
I'm really great at renaming people. When I did my open houses and I got that pushback, I always said, well, it's for security reasons, so we know every person who's been through the house, because thieves do take advantage of open houses. And I never got any pushback after that.
Okay. Whatever works for you. I don't like to talk about stuff like that. I wouldn't feel comfortable bringing that up, even putting that vibe into the place. So it's not my way. So everybody has their own way. That's what we're trying to talk about.
Yeah.
You need to find the way that works for you and that you get the information and build the relationship, right? Yeah. So it's all good, awesome. So I think this is fantastic that we got no referrals today, because it's really easy for me to do this and make everybody feel good. If this is what needs to feel good, you need to see that you did, like you can go into your tracker today and put in your numbers and ka-ching, you did it. This is a successful day. If you just boil it down to that every day you can walk out of your office wherever you're doing your calls and go, I did it, you will succeed. You will succeed if you do your numbers. That's how it works. Awesome, yeah. So great job on all the calls you made. Any more questions? Okay.
So be action oriented, not results oriented.
Be activity oriented. That's right. We want you to be activity oriented,
Right.
not. We don't want you to focus on, I want to earn $100,000 this year. What am I going to do with that? I can't even do anything with that, except I can tell you, on average, a person needs to make 80 contacts or 50 contacts a week in order to get to that.
Yeah.
Why do you think Keller Williams set it up at 50 contacts a week or 10 a day? Where do you think that came from? Pull it out of thin air?
Statistics.
Yeah. Over time, they have found that when you take it from new agents to really agents who are really good at it, there's this average. You want to get to capping by the end of your year, which everybody wants to get to capping. And then you want to get to capping sooner, right?
Yeah.
The sooner you can get to capping, right?
Yeah.
You're going to make more money. So the company says you want to get to capping, right, is when you get to 100%. Make 50 contacts a week and enter them into grow your database and have your database on a drip. Follow the model. That's our model. That's what's going to get you to capping. So it's a numbers game. Yep, it's ka-ching. I did my work. I did my activities. I'm on it. Yeah, awesome.
So, I'm not to.
Poo-poo, you're allowed to.
Yeah, I feel like 50 is
Is that how hard it is?
Oh my goodness.
So does that involve like just going out and socializing and
Yep.
like? Okay.
Anything.
I
Anything.
can do
The
that.
only thing that is the criteria for making a contact is that you ask for real estate.
Just
Referral.
talk about real estate.
Well, if I can just, in a conversation we're talking about whatever, and invariably I'm gonna ask you, so how's the job? What are you doing? What are you up to? Are you still doing the same thing? You still working at that Ding King or whatever you're doing with the surfboards? And they go, yeah, I love what I do. I get out in the water every day. And I go, oh, that's awesome. Are you still doing real estate? Yep, I'm still doing real estate. You know anybody who needs to buy or sell a home? Help me with my business? If you can get that in there, get that question in there, that's a contact. Right? So that's what I was trying to say the other day. Get into your habit of always saying that somewhere, right? Chris is going, get it in
All the time.
Might be doing better if you're
They'll
mom.
understand.
Okay, we're gonna talk about this today, but I wanted to share something else with you. My goodness, we have a lot of stuff on
So
these
when you first started,
boards.
did you start real estate here in Maui or?
I did.
Okay.
I did not go somewhere else. So I wanna make sure you guys know what a Ford call is. So a Ford conversation, Ford, like the car, easy to remember. And this is the kind of thing that is an acronym that when you remember the acronym and what it stands for will help guide you in your conversation. It's not a script, it's the next best thing. And Ford stands for family. So what this really says is, when you're chatting with somebody and you need to connect a little bit, and you go like, what am I gonna talk about? Damn, I haven't talked to you, like Chris the other day, right? You called somebody you haven't talked to in a year and a half. Now, I bet you didn't go straight, or a year. I bet you didn't go straight into the script. I bet you did a little bit of, how's it going? How's the family? Right?
Hey, you
Or
sound
maybe-
tired today. Hey, you know.
Yeah,
Their
or maybe
voice, like.
you have friends in common. Maybe this means friends also, right? Hey, our buddy so-and-so, have you seen him lately or whatever, right? And then this one is occupation. So how's the job? You still working at the Ding King, right? It's like this conversation. And what's gonna happen? They're gonna ask you, what are you doing? Last time I talked to you, you were working in that shop. You still working there? No. Last time I saw you, you were waitressing or you were bartending at so-and-so. You still doing that? I still do that part-time, but I'm a realtor now. You know anybody who needs to buy or sell a home or invest in real estate that I can help? Want to help me build my business? I'd be so grateful. Right? If that rolls off your tongue, easy. So it happens right here. And then you go on and you talk about recreation, right? So what does this person like to do and how do they spend their free time, right? What's their hobbies? Do you know that? Do you know what it is? And go, so it's just a way to have this conversation, like when you go like, what else can I talk about? And sometimes you only get to here because it was a 10-minute conversation and now the conversation naturally ends. That's just what happens, right? Sometimes it just goes to here. Right? You get where I'm going. Sometimes you start talking about, oh my God, did you catch those waves yesterday? Oh my God. And it goes right into that conversation. You're into recreation, right? You're into doing this, and you go, I wish I could, but I'm taking real estate classes. You're what? Are you nuts? There are so many realtors on this island. You go, yeah, I'm gonna beat them all. Yeah, I'm gonna be better than all of them, right? So, so there you go. You could get it in, right? And then finally, this one stands for dreams. So this is helpful when people have told you in the past that, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm gonna go to Bali in the fall, or whatever. If you talk to them recently, you know they had some dreams, or you know they like to travel. Then you say, got any trips coming up? Got anything cool you're doing? You know, what's happening in your future? What's ahead? I'm all excited about this new career I've got going, but what's happening for you? So it's just a way to make it sort of easy, right, to have this conversation. And then invariably somewhere in here, it's easy to get it in that you are now in real estate, and could they help you build your business, and do they know anybody who needs to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate? So that's awesome. The other one I wanted to share with you is the open house one, and you're gonna get this again in other classes, but it's never too soon, and it's always good to hear things twice. And it's called LP Mama.
Yes.
And LP Mama is a very helpful thing to remember when you're doing open houses. Because most of us do the chit-chatty thing, and oh, what brought you to Maui, and how long have you been here, and how long are you here for, and where are you staying, and how are you enjoying it, and da-da-da-da, you know, kind of the usual. But the truth is, I'm in here looking at real estate, and the more you can take it to that conversation, people actually appreciate it. So tell me something, is this the location that you're interested in? Well, you know, we've been coming to Maui for 20 years, and we always come to this complex, so yes, this would be our location. You get that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
People get totally married to the complex that they always go to.
Yeah.
Or, gosh, we've been coming to Maui for this is our third time, and we just love it here every time, and we're not even sure where. Yeah, we've stayed on the west side once, and we've stayed over here, and we're not sure where we want to be. Well, awesome, that's great. So, is this the price range about that you're looking for? Well, what's the price? Oh, that's so cute. I didn't even tell you that yet. This one's at $529. This is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, and it's $529. And the maintenance fee here is $749 a month.
That's nice.
Pardon?
That's nice.
Right. Good deal, right? And it's a vacation rental condo, right? Nice. So, and they go, wow, so can you make money at vacation rentals?
I can put you
How much are you
performance.
putting down?
I took your calls.
Mm-hmm.
I can put your performance for you. Bring on the performer list. I can put something.
It's challenging.
Yeah.
It's challenging, right? So those people who've taken my essentials class on this particular topic, because this happens in open houses, people ask you this, and it depends totally on how much you put down. The general rule is, if you don't put 50% down, you're not gonna
Cash
earn
flow,
any,
yeah.
you're not gonna make a profit.
50.
50% down, yeah. And people go, wow, that's a lot of money. And you go, yeah, but you have to consider that you're buying on Maui, it's a desirable place. And number two, also, you're gonna vacation there, right?
Yeah.
So how many weeks a year do you plan to vacation there?
There you go.
So now what, you have to defray the cost of you're now gonna be staying in your own condo, right? And then you need to talk to your tax consultant about owning another property and what tax implications and advantages are. You need to talk to your tax consultant about that. But it's potential that there's a tax benefit, right, and a write-off. Because it's an income producing property has to be what? Anybody know? The tax man makes you do what to an income producing property?
I appreciate it.
Makes you depreciate it. And depreciation is a reduction on your taxes. Whoever invented that was very clever. Anyway,
Question, so
Yeah.
in an open house, if they ask a question, you don't have the personal answer for it,
Mhm.
how would we handle it as?
great question, I love that.
What was the question?
Say your question again.
So if we were to be in an open house and the prospect has a question for us and we don't have the answer, how would we go about answering it?
That's a really interesting question. You know something? I'm not sure of the answer, and I want to make sure to get you the right information. Could I take your contact information and get back to you this afternoon? I promise to get you the right answer. I love questions I can't answer.
Cool, plus you get their contact.
Well, that's the point. And not only do you get to have their contact information now, you also get to demonstrate that you're going to follow up and that you provide good service, right? So it has this double whammy that is just love it. Love questions that I need to, and sometimes I cheat and I go, you know, I think the answer is this, but let me double check that for you and get back to you. All right, so I've asked for location and price, and now I ask for motivation. So, when are you thinking of buying? Oh my gosh, we don't know. We're just starting with this idea, you know, it's like awesome. Okay, well tell me something. If you had all the money in the world and everything could be just the way you want it to be, when would you want to buy? Wow, that'd be cool if we could do that this year. That's exciting. Okay, so if we just increase their desire, right, by simply asking them if they could have it at any way and any time they want, right? So that leads to, are you working with another agent?
Are you working?
So this A is for agent. And here's where you go, say before we go any further, I just wanna make sure, have you been speaking to another agent or working with another realtor? I don't wanna step on anybody's toes. And they go, oh no, we haven't. Have you signed a buyer's agreement with anybody? No, haven't done that. Okay, great, fine, well then let's continue talking. I'd love to help you buy here on Maui, and even if it's a couple of years from now, I'd love to be the one to help you do that. Really? Yeah, I'd be happy to stay in touch and be your source here on Maui for you. And then we go to mortgage. So how would you be paying for a condo? Will you be paying cash or will you be needing a mortgage? Cash, that's funny, yeah, no, I don't have that much cash. But we're saving up and no, we'd need a mortgage. And do you need to sell anything before you buy? Like, you know, some people have to sell something else at home or whatever other investment property they have. No, we don't have any other investment property and we wouldn't be selling our home. We'd want this as a second home for a while until we're ready to retire. So the idea is, can we afford to buy it now? Okay, awesome. Do you have any down payment saved up to do this? So here it comes into, is this too embarrassing to ask? Well, one of the things we're trying to establish is a relationship, that I'm your professional fiduciary, right? I'm now going into being your agent. That's what I'm stepping into, right? And once I do that, their information is confidential. So I have to say to them, I don't mean to pry, it's just, as an agent, and now I'm asking you to work with me here, is this information is confidential. I would not be at liberty to disclose this to anybody. So for instance, if you were interested in buying this condo, I wouldn't be able to tell the seller what you tell me right now, okay? So just want to be clear about that. So you have that kind of conversation. So you find out how do they end this for mortgage. And then finally, so this is awesome. I know you're not ready yet, but I'd love to tell you a little bit more about the market and how things work here, and especially how the vacation rental condos work. I'm done here at 4 o'clock and this condo is available. Would you like to come back and meet with me for a little while? Let's say at 4:15, would that work for you? Today? Yeah, sure. Do you see? Appointment. So LP Mama, if you remember LP, write it on your wrist when you do open house, right? Yes.
Statistically speaking, being that you're doing this in open houses, typically going to be maybe holiday buyers. Are they pretty willing to dedicate another time block for you to have that appointment this trip? Are you finding that? Are they willing to take some more? Good.
I have no way to answer that until I hear this. Right. So, however, if I position my conversation in such a way that I don't really care when you're ready to buy. I'm happy to answer your questions now and help you understand how this works. And if you're still, like, if they say to me, oh no, we've got kids to put through college, our son Johnny just started college, and we've got another one that's just starting grad school, we can't touch this for another, at least 4 years. I go, well, great, I wanna be the one to help you buy it in 4 years. I'll stay in touch with you and be happy to answer questions along the way. And as a matter of fact, if you wanna better understand how this really works with the vacation rental condo, I have some time this afternoon. I can't spend more time now because I'm here doing the open house. But I have a little time this afternoon when you get back from the beach. Would you like to stop by? And I'd be happy to spend a little time with you to explain it. Does that make sense? Does that work?
Yeah.
So we are very different from the mainland. If a mainland agent heard me say that I'm gonna pursue somebody who's not interested in buying for 4 years, they're like, are you crazy? No, I can't tell you how fast those 4 years will go by, and those people are gonna work with you because you're gonna stay in touch, because you've got this system that helps you stay in touch with them. So you're gonna become their realtor on Maui, and you know something? Their neighbors down the street are thinking of buying now, and guess what they're gonna say? Oh, we have an agent in Maui, we can refer you to, right?
True.
Would you say there's like a season for seasons for buying real estate? Are there high times and low
Yes.
times?
Yes.
What are
Right
the
now.
the
Yes,
seasons?
our high season starts on December 26th.
Okay.
Hey, okay, and celebration, right? So December 26th. So they arrive on like the 19th, 20th, whatever the weekend is, you know, the Friday, Saturday before Christmas. But nobody does anything over Christmas. It's kind of like they're just getting here and getting settled. So then people start looking right after Christmas. There's a little bit of a lull right at the beginning of January, but then we've got our snowbirds coming in middle of January. So really, from December 26th through April 15th is our high season. So you are doing this class just in time.
Perfect.
You need to gear up to work. We are about to go to work. So realtors get themselves ready. We've had this nice lull.
Yeah.
And now we go to work, right? So we get busy. The second high season is summertime, so when families come.
From 4th of
And-
July and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's from July through August.
Okay.
So those 2 months are high season again, and then the other seasons are shoulder seasons. And yet our shoulder seasons continue to be pretty active because, I don't know, these baby boomers, they travel all the time. You know, there's just people traveling all the time. So,
And-
but it's just like the island. You know, when the traffic is horrible, the season is good. When the traffic is nice, not so good.
Correlation.
So,
Yeah.
so I.
Hold
I'm
on,
sorry.
we had
I'm sorry.
Bradley.
Well, I
Yeah.
was just gonna say, to piggyback on Elton's question, my take is if they can find 4 to 8 hours to suffer through a timeshare presentation, I'm pretty sure they could find time to go see houses they wanna look at.
Well, not everybody goes to a timeshare presentation, especially not in South Maui. That is more clientele on the west side. You're gonna get a lot more people there who've done that. So yeah, you know, that makes sense, but if they're coming into your open house, they're also considering buying.
Right.
And a half an hour with you at a time convenient. And by the way, I do this at Starbucks. I do not bring those people to the office. That's too, wait a minute, I've got sand on my feet and I'm coming from the beach. Can we meet somewhere? Great, can we meet in the lobby of the hotel you're staying at? Or can we meet, you know, I don't care. I'm happy to meet them anywhere. I don't like bars. Restaurants okay, but bar is too, so I don't do, yeah, it's too casual.
Are you buying?
Yeah.
Legit question.
What?
Would
You're
you
buying the
buy-
coffee.
If
You
you
buy
invite
the
someone for
coffee.
coffee, are you?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, of course I'm gonna buy them coffee. Although sometimes they've gotten there before me and they bought me coffee. You know, all sorts of stuff happens. And then there's the whole thing, if you don't get there early, it takes forever to stand in line at Starbucks and get the coffee, and now you've wasted 10 minutes of their time waiting for you to get, so get there early. And yeah, you can say, hey, let me buy you a cup of coffee. How do you like your coffee? And now you ask them, and then you buy the right coffee, and you make it 4:30 so that you've got enough time to get from your open house to Starbucks to have enough time to stand in line and buy the right coffees.
Love it.
That's
great.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
So these are this is high season now. Is that
Well,
number
yeah.
of people, or is that also, are you finding more listings, more vacancies? Are you seeing more availability in the market, not just greater foot traffic?
So what do you think?
I
This
think-
is a logical question.
I think better
This-
find
You can
out.
logically answer this
Right.
for yourself. If you were a seller, when would you put your house on the market?
I would use those seasons.
I would definitely be interested in making sure I catch the high seasons, right?
Okay.
So are we gonna get more listings over the next couple of months? Yes. I've already seen it.
Seeing it now.
Yeah, you can already kind of see a little uptick in
Yeah,
it.
you surprised me
Number.
with this December 26th. I thought we were there already, because I'm seeing
No.
it crazy rampant.
Yeah, it's cause, and the other, thing is some people do ramp up for Thanksgiving, but the reality is Thanksgiving is this 1 week blip,
Yeah,
and then it goes right back down,
Mhm.
right, until,
people are here for just that, yeah.
yeah, they come for just that, and when people just come for that, it tends, I mean, we'll do some activity, but, yeah, okay, awesome. Very good, we sure have gone off topic, but I hope we answered some of
Yeah,
the
I'm
questions.
glad we
Absolutely.
did.
What?
I'm glad we did.
Okay, good,
Action
okay.
I think it was
Did you
time
hear
well
that
spent.
on the tape? They're glad we went off topic. Don't wanna get in trouble here. All right, awesome. So, we're talking about lead generating, and, so why is active lead generating important? Have we gotten this?
Yes.
What do you think? What are some points?
Well, one, you're putting yourself out there to a vast amount of people, so someone's going to buy inevitably.
Yeah, what else? Why is it important as a business activity for you to do this in particular right now?
So in 90 days, your business hasn't stopped. You still have,
That would be continuous. Why should you do this continuously,
Right.
right? So that you
Exactly.
continuously are feeding your business, right? The answer really is this is the cheapest and quickest way for you to get business. If you go through, buying leads through Zillow, you can advertise on Zillow. Have you got $1,000 a month just
Wow.
for an ad on Zillow?
Wow.
Not yet. And in Keller Williams, we have this red light, green light thing. And red light, green light says you only go forward in the green light when you've got money. Lead with revenue. Don't be spending your money that you haven't got, unless you've got a lot of resources that you can put in, which is great. And then spend it wisely, right? So lead generating is the quickest way because you're right? You're knocking on people's doors and seeing if they're interested in real estate. And look what happened. We got 3 leads the other day. So you just never know where it's going to come from. And the other one is it's the cheapest. Picking up the phone is cheaper than doing a mailing, right? Or
Yep.
yeah, so it's the cheapest way you can do this. So for people new in the business, we urge you to focus on lead generating. And what do you think is different about the lead generation of successful agents compared to not so successful peers? Why do some people do really well and some agents not do so well?
Because they try hard.
Consistent.
Systems?
Consistent.
Consistency. It's kind of, I think, what you were
Mhm.
saying, right?
Yeah.
Consistency, it's what you were just saying. If you do this every day, if you understand that from 9 to 11, you are not available. So what's gonna happen is somebody suddenly says, oh, I want to buy a house, and you go, oh my God, and you go down this road, and they say, can we go look at houses at 9 o'clock tomorrow? And you say, sure. As opposed to, actually, I'm not available at 9, would 11 o'clock work for you? And if the client then says, no, 11 doesn't work for me, I'm only available at 9, and that is your time-blocked lead generating time, now you have to go, okay, I'll meet you at 9, but now you better replace that lead generating time. And that's what we don't do. We don't replace, we get all caught up in our transaction, and we're so excited to be doing real estate, which is why we got into this business, and that we forget what our job is. And we try to tell you not to fall into that trap, right? That's a trap. And most of us fall into that trap and then come out of our escrow and we make money and we go, I have to start all over. Oh my God, you just literally start all over because you haven't been doing it for 45 days. You got so excited or however, you know. So that's the idea. If you do it consistently, it will definitely feed you, and it's the cheapest way to do that.
So quick question, and it's kind of personal. How long did it take you to get to the point where it was just like, you were smooth, your leads were coming in, like you had already set your presence in Maui and referrals were rolling in?
You know, they say in Keller Williams as well, it's gonna take you about 2 to 3 years, right? There's about this 2 to 3 year buildup. You're gonna have to really hustle. But that means if you really work on building your database and you get that database built, by the 3rd year, you should have 750 to 1,000 names in your database. That will feed you nicely.
Yeah.
And then you just keep that up. So the really successful agents have 5 or 10,000 names in their database. And they hold client events and they become, you know, they do all sorts of things to just, and they have a team at that point
Yeah.
to work all that business, so you're not just alone. But yes, that 2 to 3 year ramp up is what's needed in order to get this going smoothly.
Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah, just be aware, no, this doesn't happen overnight. And I'm watching a couple of agents do it overnight, because they have, if you have lived here, grown up here, have a big sphere of influence here, damn, are you ahead of the game? But, right?
Yeah.
So, and if you're not, if you don't have a big sphere of influence here, you're gonna have to build it, and the easiest way to do that, well, it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy, is open houses, right? And then door knocking. Pick a neighborhood, start door knocking, start becoming familiar with the neighborhood, know everything about it, become the expert, and make yourself the expert in the neighborhood. And do that, and then go to the next neighborhood, whatever it is you need to do, right? Yeah, but lead generate. So, we've got a funnel as our illustration for this class to demonstrate what it is we really need to do, right? And you get the funnel idea. We need to put a lot of leads into this funnel so that we can whittle it down to appointments, and then we whittle it down further to agreements, and then those agreements, like we call a listing agreement, and a buyer-broker agreement, right? Those are agreements, into contracts. And the contracts are then for a sale of a property, right? And you can see, it takes, that's the idea about ratios. How many, right? How many do I need to put in order to get one out? That's really what we're doing here. So, the benefits of prospecting, oh, we're not there yet. I'm just gonna share what those are. The benefits are, it's inexpensive and yields immediate results, right? We saw that on Wednesday. Puts you in a control of filling your pipeline of leads, increases your confidence and skill. Now, we don't think about that a lot, but when you do a bunch of open houses and start having a bunch of conversations with people and answering questions about real estate on Maui, you will start to feel like a realtor. And does that make a difference?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Builds your
right? It'll make
confidence.
a big difference
Yeah.
on how you project yourself and how you even carry yourself, how you walk into the room, right?
Yeah.
I'm scared, I don't know what I'm doing. Versus, hey, what have you got? Throw it at me. Give me a question. I can handle it, right? So, do those open houses. Get good at it. Just practice, right? And who cares? If you do it wrong, you'll probably never see those people again. It doesn't matter, right?
That's right.
We're all gonna, that's right, we all make mistakes, for sure. I remember just a few years ago, I was doing a buyer broker presentation and somebody, I hadn't looked at my scripts. And somebody said to me, the client said to me, well, you just want me to sign this agreement because you don't want me working with other agents. And I was so taken aback, I was like, and I just stumbled,
Oh,
right?
no.
Mhm. What's the answer?
Yes.
Yes, you're right.
That's
That's right.
Yes.
I was so
Yes.
like, I don't even remember what I said. I just remember feeling so like caught, right?
Yeah.
Deer in the
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a good example of I wasn't prepared. I didn't know the scripts. I didn't know the objection handlers for when somebody says, well, you just want to stop me from working with other agents. Yeah, I do, and here's why. nobody gets paid until somebody buys something, right? So if you don't choose me, then I can't decide to spend a lot of time working with you. I'm in business for myself. I have to make a prudent business decision about how I spend my time and who I spend it on. So I love to know that people are committed to me, and I will be happy to dedicate myself to you. That's what I've learned to say. Right? So you will get there. So that's the benefit of increasing our confidence and our skill. It yields quantities of leads, which yield quality leads, right? Because you're going to be able to filter out the people who aren't really interested, they're looky-loos, they're tire kickers, whatever you want to call them. And then there's the people who really are like, yeah, we're ready. We're ready. Keep you in direct contact with the market and protects against market shifts. The more you are doing your activities and are in that habit, right? It's a habit. This is what I do. I get up in the morning and I lock myself in my office and I do my lead generating. This is what I do. When you get into that habit, it doesn't matter where the market goes. You are doing what you need to do in order to generate business. Now your ratios might change from one type of market to another type of market. Like right now, it's hard to get listings, right? People aren't letting go. Right? So in another market, you'll see that all of a sudden the sellers come out of the woodwork, and then we won't have as many buyers. And now we're looking for buyers. So it shifts. It's okay. You're doing the right activities. So there's this myth in lead generating, kind of in the world, that says prospecting is annoying people. Anybody have that sense that, oh my God, I don't really want to call?
Yeah.
At first, I kind of felt that way.
Yeah, right? So it comes up for us. This is where we get into when you come from contribution. While initially I might go, oh my God, you're telling me you became a realtor, so this is a sales call. But the moment you actually give me something, and I walk away and I go, well, that was a nice call. And am I selling something? What am I selling?
Yourself.
Good service.
Yeah, but I'm not making you buy anything, right?
Right.
I'm just trying to build mind share. I'm just trying to build our relationship so that you think of me and you think of me when it's time for you to recommend a realtor or do real estate, right? I'm not making you buy this widget over the phone. So that fear doesn't exist. So right there, I'm not as buggy as the person calling up and asking for a donation for the fireman's whatever league, right? Oh no, not a fireman on the phone.
Like, you put me in this
There we go,
position.
yeah, right? We're in that position, so we don't do that, yes.
So what I learned today is sometimes that contribution is that we live on Maui.
Yeah, great.
My friend referred me to someone who was thinking of buying real estate in Phoenix, Arizona. So I called to see if they were working with an agent, needed help. They were working with an agent, but they needed help because they were thinking of vacationing on Maui next year. So you never know how that
No, you don't
relationship's
know how
gonna
that's
turn.
gonna turn, that's
Yeah.
awesome, that's great, yeah.
That is
Okay, so realizing that we're meeting people and building purposeful relationships and that we come from contribution changes, right? And it's also like, I'm not here to do anything for you except let you know that I provide awesome customer service, and if you ever need me, I'm here. That's the purpose of my call, right? Oh, and if you can think of anybody right now, well, great, but I just want you to know I'm here for you if you need to do real estate. That's all I'm trying to do. That's not a terribly annoying call. So the 4 C's of prospecting are to capture, connect, close, and cultivate. Well, somewhere in there, cultivate and close. So what are those? First, we have to capture the lead by getting their contact information, then connect by establishing relationship, and finally close them for an appointment and eventually to buying or selling a property. And then we cultivate them to maintain that relationship. Now, sometimes, like I was saying before, we have to do a lot of cultivating before we get them to buy or sell, right? But that's okay. So, capture, where's that? Give us a page number? Page 21, we're not there yet, okay. So, capture. Capture goes back to our database, right? Number one, at open houses, getting people to leave you their contact information, establishing enough of a relationship through your conversation that they feel comfortable doing that. This is your greatest source of new people and building your sphere of influence database. And then there is everybody you know here on island, right? We did that circle thing before, and we can do that again. Where are we gonna do that? We're gonna do that in a little bit. Okay. Anybody have any ahas from going into command and taking a look at the database information there? Was that hard if you went in?
I struggle with it a little. When I uploaded my contacts, is that what you're talking about?
Well, I didn't know you were gonna do that. That's fantastic. I call Scott Leroy and say, you do that. But you did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Well, when I
Jeez.
uploaded my contacts, it only took people with emails that I had in my phone, not, because I have like 900 people in my phone.
Time to call Scott Leroy. Go, what did I do wrong? And he goes, you forgot to check this toggle right here. So delete them all and start again. Or now we say take the ones only with phone call numbers, right? And see if you get those. But it downloaded the phone numbers on the ones you got.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, well, what you've got right there is you could, before you add more names, here's a cool one, you can hit the bulk, modify, and turn them all into sphere of influence. And you've got your sphere of influence set because they've all got emails. Right?
Good
And now
idea.
you're gonna add on
Yeah, just
the more people who don't have emails for, and you can now start calling those people and connecting with them and seeing if you can get their email addresses, right? That would be your goal. So, there you go, you can turn the
Yeah, I
thing
appreciate it.
into
Yeah,
an
that's a good
opportunity,
idea.
yep. Anybody else have any ahas or learnings? But that's a perfect example of call Scott Leroy and ask him for guidance on that kind of thing. So good for you, you went in and did that, that's like. So now, if you record in Core how many names you entered into your database, it'll be there, and now you'll be able to see, okay, here's how I added from doing open houses, and oops, here's the other 200 names I entered who didn't have email addresses, right? You can see that, and now you know what at any time, how your database is growing, which is a wonderful thing, right? Okay. So remember that every time you speak with somebody, you're gonna have to add them to your database. Every time you talk to somebody, how can you follow up? How can you make sure you stay connected with that person? So go to your phone and say, hey, you know something, I don't have your phone number. I'd love to stay in touch. What's your phone number? You know, right there, you're talking to them at the grocery store. It doesn't matter. Get people's contact information, right? That's our goal. All right, next one is to connect with people. So getting their more information about who they are, right? Our goal is to build this connection and build a relationship. So I'm on page 18. Are we on the same page, Emily? It says connecting questions. So get details to add to your database. Tell me a little bit about your family. So, you know, ask them, say, I don't even know anything about your family. Like, and you know, who do you live with? You know, I don't know anything about that. So, oh my God, yeah, I live with my wife and we have 2 kids. And, oh my God, how old are your kids, right? So digging a little deeper, not being afraid to ask questions, like making that. You could make this a reason to call people and then give something as well, some element of a benefit. And then if somebody says, okay, what are you interested in, right? Or that we're actually thinking of buying. We've been living in this rental forever, and so what are you looking for, and what do you want to do, and where would you like to buy, and where's your home located now, and In other words, dig deeper into the relationship to find out what's going on. So I'm at the beach with friends of mine a couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I forget. And they tell me that they're moving again. And they're moving the 3rd time in like 18 months. And I'm like, ouch. Like, I think moving is one of the more painful things in life, right? Avoid it at all costs. And I said, why are you moving again? They go, well, it's just not the right house and blah, blah, blah. They had their reasons. And then we're going on and they're lamenting and they go, you know, gosh, and we still can't get a dog. We wish we could get a dog, but it's so hard to be a renter with a dog, so we don't have a dog. I said, well, that's it. You guys need to buy so that you can stop renting and having to move. And number 2, so you can have a dog. And they looked at me and they laughed and we laughed. And I said, they said, what a crazy reason to buy a house. I go, no, sounds good to me. Like, it's security. You don't have to move anymore. Or not until you want to, and you get to have a dog if that's important in your life. So being the bad realtor I was, I didn't follow up with them. They're on my sphere of influence list and I send them regular stuff, but I don't follow up. They're friends and I feel a little intimidated because they're such close friends and I don't want to like jump on them, right? She calls me 2 weeks later and she says, you know, Marion, you put this bug in our ear, like, it never occurred to us. We don't have a lot of down payment. How can we buy? I said, well, let's get together and talk about that. And I got them a house. Took a year. Took a long time to find them something, but never mind. That was the market then. And they bought on a USDA loan, which is 0 down, right? They had no down payment, but I knew that they had steady jobs that paid well. And then I asked them, tell me something. What do you think your credit score is? Like, do you pay your bills on time? Well, she is missing